There are a couple of places that really stand out to me that I got to play in back in the day. And one of those places was the old Alex Box Stadium at LSU. I would say that's probably one of the top ones I enjoyed playing. Number one being, of course, at Duty Noble. Second, also would probably Rosenblatt. And third probably would be at the old Alex Box Stadium. I remember the field feeling really small. And it wasn't that small, still about the same size as the rest of the fields, but it's just the way it was. The stands were all around the field. Everything was all on top of you, almost kind of suffocating feeling. I remember the bullpen bench was right up against the fence, and the walkway was right there on the fence, and you'd have LSU fans saying some pleasant things to you as they walked by. I remember the grandstands being, I think, wooden, and there wasn't any press box. There was a big open area where I guess the press was, so it was very old school, I guess you could say, even back then. If you pitch a lot one game, a lot of times we would go running a lot around visiting campuses the next day, just to try to flush out some of the soreness and stuff out. So I remember that particular game. The next day, me and Jeremy Jackson went running around LSU's campus and close to the ballpark, and I guess even around to some tailgating areas. I think the fans at LSU were very similar to state fans, really, because you heard some stuff during the game, obviously, but after the game, they treat you kind of like friends. So I remember we were running through campus, and we ran through some tailgate areas and before the next day's game. I think, of course, we had on our baseball stuff, so I guess they recognized us. But just nice to us then, offered to feed us. I didn't really want to eat some of that stuff, but I don't think we ate anything. But they offered to feed you and drinks and everything. So during the games, they're pretty much your enemy, but after the game, they're pretty much your friends. I remember my first trip there. It was the first time I got to play there was on a hot Saturday afternoon. Stands were packed, big SEC game. Of course, fans just ready right on top of you. Backstop felt like it was really, really close because it's kind of dark and all the fans were there. So I really liked playing and pitching in stadiums like that where everything felt kind of close to you, because it felt like from pitcher's mound to home plate was shorter for some reason. Obviously it wasn't, but it just felt like it. So really neat place to play. I've got some footage from that game. I don't have the whole game on that. I think about half the game. So here's that day back in 1998 on a hot Saturday afternoon at the old Alex Box Stadium. Really great atmosphere and really fun place to play.
Brian Compton. That is exactly what he wanted out of Jeremy Jackson today. A great outing. We have a new pitcher. It's a 2-run lead for Mississippi State.
You're back. Mississippi State leads 5-3. They have 2 on, 1 down, and there's a pitching change. Jeremy Jackson heads to the dugout. I think he pretty much did what his coach expected him to do today, and that was, let's get it to the middle part of the baseball game with a lead, and we'll turn it over to the pen. And they've got some good ones, and this is Brian Compton, a 5'11", 160-pounder from Brandon, Mississippi, out of Hines, Mississippi Community College. 3-0 this season, and has had a sensational season in terms of an ERA. Leads the team with a 1.96 ERA. He has 1 combined shutout with a couple of other pitchers. He's thrown 18 innings, given up 13 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 5 walks, 23 strikeouts in 18 innings. Not bad. No home runs he's given up, no triples, 5 doubles. Opponents hitting a paltry 189. That is not a bad campaign. So Brian Compton now, Darren, will have to deal with this.
A big roll right here for him.
And, you know, if they can get through this inning, and we talked about it in the pregame, and if they can get to Hank Thompson, if they can get to Van Johnson with the lead, if you're Mississippi State, you got to like your chances.
Absolutely, and that's the key. We can't say enough about the job that Jeremy Jackson did today. It wasn't his 15 strikeout performance of last year, but it's like we talked about early in the ball game. He only walked one. Back in the first inning, it was Trey McClure, and McClure was erased on a double play, so none of the walks hurt him. 2 strikeouts. He scattered his 9 hits, and right here he hands the ball off in a tough position to be in as a starting pitcher to watch your runners out there on the bases, and that's Eddie Furness and Brad Cressy, second and first respectively, and Blair Barbier at the plate to face Compton. Off-speed pitch and a dandy. Did he go? No, he didn't. First base umpire Tony Manor said, no, he did not go around. Barbier grounded into a double play back in the second, reached on a fielder's choice in the fourth. The numbers are down for him this year at 252, but he has come on of late. Starting to get his confidence back just a little bit. Off-speed pitch. That one missed. 2-0. 5 runs for Mississippi State on 7 hits with 1 error. 3 runs for LSU on 9 hits. And 1 error for LSU as well. Here's the 2-0. Nails the outside corner. An unhittable pitch right there. A little bit of Greg Maddux-like movement on the fastball. Patton set up outside. Compton started that one almost in the left-handed batter's box and dove it right in over the outside corner. He could get a ground ball with that pitch again. Off-speed pitch, nubbed. Off to the right side, that was the slider.
Barbier really struggling at the plate. Came in at 252. Last night he went 1 for 3. Struck out once. And a hit here would certainly do him wonders confidence-wise. To get a big hit, team's down, he'd get an RBI.
Swings through the off-speed pitch, and what a job by Brian Compton. Now suddenly with 2 outs, the confidence factor just goes through the roof.
Watch Compton come in here and throw the nasty breaking pitch. It broke at the front part of that plate. Barbier already saw it, swung at it, and at that particular moment, it broke hard left.
That's how you win at this level. We saw it in Jeremy Jackson. We're seeing in Brian Compton. That was a strike whether he swung or not. If you can throw 2 pitches for a strike at the college level, you're going to win, the bottom line, especially if you're coming out of the bullpen. You really only need 1 outstanding pitch for a strike.
You see a lot of guys throw these breaking pitches that break maybe late or break too early. It's a matter of trying to get these things confined to the right area, and it looks as though Mr. Compton has figured this out.
Absolutely. Catches the outside corner to Jeff Lamont. He homered last night. He's going to pinch hit right now. Jeremy Whitten, the lefty-righty matchup, switches things around. He's homered a straightaway center field last night. Changeup. That one missed downstairs. Lamont, with the 8 of the win today, probably would not have gotten the ball out. It surprised a lot of us in the ballpark, but boy, did he ever put a charge into it. And it's something that doesn't surprise them. They feel like this is a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. With the open stance, the 1-1 pitch to Lamont. Nasty. Backdoored that off-speed pitch. Worthy of another Greg Maddux comparison, that one is.
Next thing you know, we'll have Greg Maddux on that mound, and well, you keep talking. I'm sure he'd take that Greg Maddux contract of nearly $10 million a year.
Not like the Dave Neal deal. That one just misses outside.
If you only knew.
Steve Craddock, our boss, gives out nickels like they're manhole covers. I'm out of a job, and here's a pitch. That one misses downstairs. 3-2 the count. The runners will be alive. The runners will be going. 5-3 Mississippi State leads it. A base hit pretty much ties it with the runners on the move here. Big pitch and a big at bat. Here's Compton coming home. Fouls that one back, and we're still alive.
Yeah, there's the understatement of the day.
Which is?
We're still alive after your previous remarks.
Ay, ay, ay. You told me to say that. Crowd coming alive, and here comes the 3-2 with the runners going. Sky to left field. Looks like they may get out of it. And they do. Brian Compton comes in and absolutely slams the door in LSU's face. The two runners start things off and do not come around to score. On the road, Mississippi State has a 2-run lead, and boy, I'll tell you, coming out and surprising all of us here, and coming out with a strong outing from Jeremy Jackson and Dave Neal. What an outstanding job by Brian Compton. And he came in through strikes this lineup, as did Jeremy Jackson, who started things off for him. And we talked to Mississippi State head coach Pat McMahon, and he echoed the same thing as his pitcher. You have to get it over the plate to get these stars out.
We think that's one of our fortes. As the season unfolds, it's critically important that pitchers understand that by pitching to advantage counts, by throwing the ball in the strike thing, good things are going to happen. We have an inexperienced staff that's getting better as the year unfolds because we feel good about the depth of our pitching staff, and they continue to work hard and do the little things well, we'll be fine.
Well, they walked 11 last night and actually out-hit LSU 12-7, and that's why they came out on the bad end of the scoreboard. Today, only one walk in this ball game, and his team, we talked about it before the game. You know, you can look at different things for your success as the season wanes on towards the conference tournament and then regionals and the World Series. Of course, for LSU, the batting average is not where it wants to be, but they're driving the runs in. For Mississippi State, they do not walk hitters. Therefore, their pitchers are able to be successful. Around the rest of the conference, we take a look at the numbers. Alabama in Fayetteville with an 8-0 lead, and Auburn at home on the Plains with a 5-run lead over Vanderbilt. Georgia's playing a doubleheader. In the first one, they knocked off Tennessee after rain last night. Here's what's going on in game 2. A 1-run lead for the University of Tennessee, and look at that score, 29-8.
20-10 yesterday.
South Carolina continues to play very, very good baseball. We'll talk about them more, Dave, as they are leading that one at Ole Miss. And quickly chop to the right side to start things off. Brooks Bryant is the first out of the inning. Bryant, and then Rusty Toms and Brad Freeman.
Left fielder, Rusty Toms.
We are at now the second part in the order. Mississippi State would love just a little more offense as they see LSU try and chip away every inning. Fastball with a purpose. Makes your off-speed pitch look that much better when the hitter just had his tower buzzed. Look at Brandon Bowe out there on the mound. Just really, he has done such an outstanding job since coming on in the first inning. It's so intense still. It's like it's the first inning when he came in from the bullpen. He knows what his offense can do, and he would love a W. That one's chopped to the right side. That is going to find the hole, despite the outstanding effort from Blair Barbier. The book on Rusty Toms was hits the ball to all fields, and that's what he has to do to be effective, and a good piece of hitting right there. Thinking about Toms on base, too. This is a key time maybe to squeeze out another run. He has 10 stolen bases. He's 10 of 11. Somebody that they can look to move across the base paths, and an athlete who can run at the plate in Brad Freeman. Freeman scored a couple of times. He tripled back in the 5th inning. Off-speed pitch misses downstairs.
Kind of a reversal of fortune for Mississippi State right now. 6 of their 8 league losses, or actually 6 of their 9 league losses, have been by 2 runs or less. 4 of those have been on the road.
Pitch out, nothing doing. Yeah, that road schedule. I don't know if it could be any tougher. Obviously, the timing is everything on who you're playing and who's hot that year, but Florida, Alabama, LSU, Auburn, all on the road, and now South Carolina, the way they're playing this year. That one misses downstairs. The scheduling god's not good to Mississippi State this year. But we may find out, especially as this game goes along and the rest of the season, that which doesn't kill you is seeming to make them much stronger. Good pitch right through there. 3-1 count. Richard Lee waits on deck, trying to do some more damage. Top of the 7th inning here at Alex Box Stadium on campus here at LSU. Mississippi State with the lead on the road. Thanks in part to the outstanding pitching by Jeremy Jackson and now his teammate Brian Compton, who has come in and dominated for a half inning. That one catches the outside corner. 3-2 the count. Brandon Bowe's done his job. Starting pitcher Chris Demouy did not get a single batter out in the first. Bowe has allowed just the 1 run since coming on in the first inning. It's almost like he started this game. Gets that one in on the fist. Tough chance. McClure throws in time. Quick throw down to second. Almost got it. Rusty Toms can run the bases, and he runs them aggressively, and Eddie Furness almost nailed it. Boy, that would have stormed some momentum into this crowd and into the dugout if that would have ended this inning. That's the kind of senior leadership you like, and it's always nice, too, to see somebody try and execute that play and throw a bullet right where it's supposed to be. Big lead at second base. That one's hit off the fist. Barbier right under his glove, and that's going to cost him a run. Barbier did not get in front of that baseball, and coming around to score is Rusty Toms, and that one hurts. Just picked up. Thought he had a routine play. Just picked up the glove. Out to right field it goes. And another run scores. And a big run at this point in the game. Saw Trey McClure get in front of a baseball earlier and save his team a run right there. That hurts with Barbier a little beside the baseball. His body could have stopped that ball. Brian Weiss. He's 0 for 3. Came into the game hitting .431. Dropped to .419. That one misses downstairs. 1-1. Boy, from one swing to another, almost a pick off at second base after a ground out. Could have taken the momentum now the other way, where it lets a little bit of the air out of this crowd and that bench for LSU. That one's ripped back up the middle, and the Mississippi State Bulldogs stay alive. Weiss went down and got one down in the strike zone and just tattooed it. Oh, he's worked his way into the 7th inning. His longest outing this year was 7 innings. He hit it twice against Texas and Mississippi State as Skip Bertman makes his way to the mound. The last 2 times he's pitched, on the 25th and the 1st, were 5-inning appearances. So now they're going to have to check that bullpen. That's where Dan Guillory is getting loose, and he may check into the game, and he will, as Skip Bertman has made the call to the pen. Dan Guillory will be next up on the LSU pitching rotation. We'll check out his numbers when we come back. Fantastic performance for Mr. Bowe, who came in relief of Chris Demouy. Not much time to think about this game. Next thing you know, before there's an out in the first inning, Bowe has to come in, and he shut the door down on Mississippi State, who picked up 4 in the first inning. But that leads us to Dan Guillory now, who steps in to quiet down Mississippi State. And Guillory is certainly a quality pitcher in his own right. His ERA, a lofty 7.36, however, right now he's 1-0. He's made 4 appearances this year. He's pitched 7 innings, given up 10 hits in the SEC outings this year. Of
course, facing Mississippi State right now in the SEC. It's going to be a tough task because Mississippi State hits the baseball pretty well. And you say that an SEC team hits the ball pretty well, and you say that respective to their conference. You step out of conference and you take your 320 average around the country, you're pretty gaudy, but in the conference, your 320 average is, you know, mediocre. Right.
I'm down this year. I'm making only 315.
Is that, what is that, in softball?
Just like, I mean, it's just like your head coach being very disappointed at your team hitting 300. That would be your team hitting 300, as Skip Bertman is.
But overall, it's been a solid season, though, for Guillory at 5.14, 12 appearances, 21 innings pitched, 21 hits, 12 earned runs, struck out 24 in those 21 innings. He's given up 3 long balls, however, this year, and the opposition hitting .247, and now he has to face a guy who's swinging a pretty hot stick in Barry Patton with 2 on and 2 out. There are your runners.
Richard Lee at second, Brian Weiss at first base. Guillory's a young man who will be pitching professionally someday. There's a ball 90 miles an hour with a slider that can approach the low 80s. There it was right there, right out of the gates. That one just missed. It's kind of curious where that pitch was, I think. Bounce right back. Skip Bertman definitely has pitchers that do not question umpires on the mound. He said, you leave that to me. There's a slider. That one misses upstairs. 2-0.
Guillory stands 6'2", kind of a lanky fella at 185. Junior out of Baton Rouge.
There's a heater. Yeah, definitely a different look. Bo with the good fastball, but pretty much relying on the curveball. Guillory's going to rear back and bring it at you. Even the slider has good velocity on it. Bang. Fastball right in the outside corner. Patton is 0 for 2. He walked back in the first inning, part of that big rally when Mississippi State put 4 across the boards. Guillory trying to get out of this one with only a little bit of damage, and he does. Nasty slide. Comes in and does his job. Now let's see if the LSU offense could rank up. Can't do it much better than this right here. LSU is down 3. Mississippi State leads it. There's a look back on campus at LSU here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The 136-year-old university. With all sorts of tradition on campus and maybe just as much tradition or even more right here at Alex Box Stadium. New tradition especially. 4 national championships in the 90s. 2-time defending champs. And a 6-3 deficit right now trying to overcome. Here's a look at Jeremy Jackson. What an outstanding outing he had today. Now all he can do is sit and watch as his teammate Brian Compton has it in his, so far, very trusty hands, trying to shut down this potent LSU lineup. Compton came in and just put away LSU. Got out of a big jam in the last half inning. Leadoff hits by Furness and Cressy. And Compton got out of it. Cedric Harris will start things off. The speedy Cedric Harris, and the big sweeping breaking ball misses outside.
Matt Peoples, by the way, replaces, or takes over at second base, I should say, for Mississippi State. Peoples, a solid defensive player. And there he is.
Good fastball. Catches the inside corner. 2-1 the count. Sorry, partner, go ahead. Down 2-1. Really not giving in as Compton nails the inside corner with that one. Not giving up on the heart of the plate. And you were saying. That one misses outside. 3-1. There you see the to score here in the bottom of the 7th. 3-1 count. Right through the heart of the plate. And the closer is up in the bullpen for Mississippi State. Van Johnson starts to get loose down in the bullpen. Curveball grounded to the left side. Freeman throws. Not in time. A bang-bang play at first base. One of those that looked like it could have gone either way. And look at the wheels on Cedric Harris, paying dividends once again.
He did this same thing in the 5th. He beat out a Brad Freeman throw. He would end up coming around to score. He does it again here.
He was safe.
No question, he beat the throw. Freeman can't believe it, but it was a good call over at first by Tony Manners.
Now it's Josh Dalton. Curveball right through there. Dalton 0 for 2. Flew out to right in the 3rd inning. Grounded back to the box in the 5th. Not too big of a lead at first base from Cedric Harris. Down 3 runs now. It's important for Harris to move around the base paths, but also he needs to stay on the base paths. With nobody out, we're about to get back to the top of the order. And the cheering section is starting up down below, of course. That one's ripped to the right side, but on line. Could it be 2? Yes. Peoples in for his defense, gets a chance and a pretty easy one right at him, and then he turned and threw to Richard Lee. No one to blame right there.
Just a heads-up play. Peoples played him perfectly, threw to first, a strike, close play. This will give us a better idea of. I think he got back. Close call. Tony Manners has had some tough calls to make over there at first, but he's been right on the spot.
Wes Davis, his second at bat. That one just catches the inside corner for Davis, who singled back in the 5th inning. Was actually thrown out trying to stretch that single after an error. Tried to head to second base, and they made a pretty key out in that inning right there. Quieted at a rally after Cedric Harris came around to score in the air. Instead of Davis being a base runner with 1 out, he made the second out of the inning at second base. 2-1 the count. That one is skied to center field. Brooks Bryant has all day, and he makes the catch. Mississippi State is in the driver's seat, up 6-3 on the road at LSU. We'll be back. Quickly back on campus at LSU, 6-3. Mississippi State leads, and Travis Chapman starts things off with a base hit and a high sky and wind this afternoon to contend with. And now at this point in the afternoon, also shadows around the home plate area to contend with as well. And to take us home in this very, very good ball game thus far, my partner, David Neal.
Thank you, Darren, and that takes us to John Knott. Singled last time up back in the 6th inning. Then got caught in a 4-6-3 twin killing. It has been a well-played baseball game on both ends today. In the SEC, keeping the scores under 10 these days is the exception. And we've got one here. Long way to go, though. 6-3. Of course, LSU with over 80 home runs this year can certainly get back in a game in a hurry. But a nice pitch by Guillory. Knott has 9 home runs this year. That's downstairs. Chapman not a stolen base threat. He's 1 of 1 this year. Doesn't mean he won't go, but certainly Guillory doesn't need to spend too much time worrying about Mr. Chapman, I wouldn't think, at this point. Up by 3. He's going to continue to throw over to first. Mississippi State used to hit and run effectively on Wednesday night against Ole Miss down in Jackson. See if they'll pull something like that off here. But you're going to let John not swing. It's always nice to have your number 8 hitter in the lineup with 26 RBIs and 9 home runs. You never really have much of a problem with that.
Really not a whole lot of at-bats either. 68 coming into the game with those 9 home runs. Pretty darn good power numbers for this young man.
Swing and a miss, and he will take a seat in the dugout. A good bit of pitching by Dan Guillory to get the strikeout.
Second baseman, number 9, Matt.
And it's his second since coming on in relief of Brandon Bowe.
This is how you stop young power. Throw one of the better sliders we've seen all afternoon. It was about knee-high down the middle when it crossed the dirt, was in the dirt by the time it got to home plate.
And this is Matt Peoples, who checked in for defensive purposes to play second base. He would come back and do the same thing, actually, in Alabama on Sunday last weekend, and all he did was have a hit and an RBI in his 1 plate appearance, and Mississippi State would go on to beat the Crimson Tide to salvage 1 of 3 on the road. They're trying to even the series here with LSU. Lost last night 8-5. 11 walks by the Tigers last night. That has not been the case here today. There's a little blooper behind second base. Barbier, tough time, can't handle it, and everybody's safe. So Matt Peoples steps in and catches one off the fist and counts as a single. And there's 2 on, 1 down. Runner in scoring position now as we move back to the top of the order in Brooks Bryant.
Sometimes things happen and you just know it just may be your day. In on the fist, and he really didn't hit the ball much further than right where it needed to be hit. Seeing eyeball that dropped right in there off the fist, and Matt Peoples will take it. Runners on first and second now with 1 out.
Just his 4th hit of the season. Bryant is grounded out twice. Blew out. Single. Started the game off with a single, would come around to score when that 4-run first for the Bulldogs. Now it's 1-1. That was Chapman over at second base. There he is wearing number 14. Dalton playing games with him. There's a little pop behind short, but it will sail out to shallow left, and Wes Davis will make the play. So 2 down. And that brings us to Rusty Toms, who was struck out twice today and singled twice. And has scored both times he has reached base.
Rusty Toms.
I'll tell you what, you talk about the outfield play today. Besides Brooks Bryant, back in the 3rd inning, misjudging a ball. These gentlemen have done very well in these conditions with the high sky and the wind just continuing to swirl. Everyone's done a good job out there today.
There's a little blooper behind second again. Barbier can't catch up with that, and here comes a run to score and the long throw to third. So an insurance run for the Bulldogs as Travis Chapman would come around to score from second base, and a couple of bloop singles have led to a 7-3 lead now in the top of the 8th inning for the Bulldogs. And there's still an opportunity to add to that total with 2 down, and you've got Brad Freeman stepping up to play.
And that last one, even more of an excuse me hit. Toms absolutely didn't even want to swing at the pitch. Peoples at least took a full swing on his, just checked this swing and put it right where it was supposed to be put.
Will be 3 singles in the inning now. Line drive over to Furness at first. That will do it. But a big run for the Bulldogs. They push their lead to 4 on 3 hits and no errors. 2 left. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Plenty of these if you come to Baton Rouge down on the bayou. A moss-draped oak tree. The sun has been shining brightly today at the box. We are glad you could join us on our SEC TV Game of the Week as LSU, ranked as high as number 4 in the country, trails by 4 to Mississippi State, a team that was ranked early in the year but fell out of all the polls this week after dropping 2 or 3 of the Crimson Tide. Pat McMahon says once this team gets healthy, watch out. It looks as though they are headed in that direction right now. Compton stays on the hill in relief. Jeremy Jackson, he went 5 1/3 innings. Compton has been brilliant thus far. That's in there for a strike against Trey McClure, who was walked, singled and scored, struck out. Ground ball to third. That's in play. Chapman over to Lee. 1 down in the 8th. We've got some pretty good infielders here today, especially over the 3-bag. And Chapman and McClure, good first baseman, and Lee and Furness. Shortstops have been pretty much brilliant today. Freeman has had some great defensive plays, but runners have just beat him out. Specifically, Harris has beat out 2 infield singles. He's gone deep behind the bag. So has Dalton. Fastball inside and downstairs.
Let's tip our cap to the catchers. 2 pretty good pitch games out there today, and catcher's doing a good job behind home plate. Barry Patton and Clint Earnhardt. Of course, that's Patton right there.
That's in there for a strike.
Both rely on their coaches to call the game, but once again, you still are partially the counselor and the friend of the pitcher, as well as working hard behind the plate, blocking up pitches, and doing a good job.
Furness's average is up to 409. He came in at 403. There's 13 home runs. Nobody on, and that's exactly what you want if you're a Mississippi State fan. Nobody on base at the heart of the order. Furness turns on that. Chases the ball, girls out of the way. Hey, you got a glove.
They didn't want anything to do with that. They didn't want anything to do with that line drive. Many a first baseman has done that off the bat of Eddie Furness, diving out of the way of his line drive.
That's upstairs, 3-2, and as we've discussed before, this is the situation that Eddie loves. The full count at 3-2. He feels that he's in control at this point. I think that comes from a lot of confidence. There's a ground ball down the line. And I think also pitchers are familiar with Eddie Furness and his reputation, and they don't want to throw something up there that he could crush. And that's why he walks a great deal. He's closing in on 50 walks this year. He had 52 a year ago. And Eddie just kind of zones in. LSU needs base runners. Base runners for Brad Cressy. As the pen is very active. Toms and Johnson loosening up. Johnson on the right of your screen. He's the sidewinder.
Designated hitter, Brad Cressy.
Today, grounded out, popped out, singled in the 6th. There's Furness at first. Lee playing off the bag, not too concerned with that run. There's 1 down. This would be a big confidence boost for Mississippi State if they could hold on to win this game. Set up a nice series closer tomorrow here at the box, as Mississippi State will head back home. 7 games they have played away from Dudy Noble. They will be anxious to get back to Starkville. They have Kentucky coming in over the weekend, a game that some of you can see on Fox Sports South, part of the Fox Sports Net family, on Friday night. And of course, we'll be back right here on SEC TV on Saturday. That's in there for a strike. 2-2 the count.
A lot of respect for Cressy. 2-0. He dropped a nasty slider in there. He came right back 2-1 with the same pitch. It's paying dividends for him. That's why you throw that second pitch for a strike. You're going to win, especially against the Bashers.
Struck him out. Compton goes off speed and outside, and Cressy chases it, and that is a huge out. Now there are 2 down, and Furness still over at first base.
You said it just right, too. He took a little bit off the fastball, sunk down and away, and he was able to sneak a fastball by the big power hitter because he threw the 2 outstanding breaking balls to pitch before. Good movement on that fastball. That's a strike either way. Unhittable pitch. That wasn't over the plate until the catcher caught it. Dove back into the zone.
Glenn Earnhardt singled in the 6th, or excuse me, in the 4th, and picked up an RBI in the process. He's 2 for 3 today. Having a nice day behind the plate as well. Earnhardt has hit 5 home runs this year. His average has crept up to .313. Earnhardt and Cressy split time behind the plate. Usually when one catches, the other DHs.
Cressy fighting through a finger injury right now that's affecting his throwing just a little bit.
And let's see, that would be the 5:38 Eastern time train, and there goes my ride.
I was going to say, there it goes. Looks like you're staying here in Baton Rouge with us. Looks like you're going to eat crawfish tonight.
I thought you were calling them crawdads.
That's what I'm calling you.
Just as long as you call me Daddy. As you see the train, crawfish heading to Baton Rouge. Fouled straight back. 2-2, 2 down. It's a 4-run Bulldog lead.
You really think that's what's on the train?
Absolutely not. I've got my theories, but I'm not going to talk about them. Breaking pitch outside. Tough to hold off, but Earnhardt did that. Compton has done a remarkable job coming in. It has been just a tremendous job for Jackson and Compton, the 2 pitchers Mississippi State has used. Has stayed ahead in the count, been able to throw their games. There goes Furness on the 3-2.
And it's been a good move to be able to make because Jeremy Jackson basically fastball maybe 80 miles an hour and a good changeup. Compton, a little more velocity, comes from the right side and shows you a totally different look. His out pitch is that big breaking curveball / slider.
And if you go to the bullpen, you got Toms who can throw some heat. He's got nice changeup. Van Johnson, the sidewinder's got some nasty breaking pitches. And that is another strikeout for Compton. He continues to look impressive. He sits down Cressy with a K, and now Earnhardt. And we go to the 9th, and Mississippi State holding on to the 4-run lead. Bulldogs 7, Tigers 3 as we move to the 9th inning. Don't forget, next week you can see the other half of what made up the College World Series National Championship game. The Alabama Crimson Tide. They will take on the Tennessee Volunteers. Rod Delmonico's team certainly playing solid baseball, as is Alabama. Tennessee and Alabama tomorrow, Saturday, next Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern. The Shadows are certainly playing havoc now. Guillory continues to pitch for LSU. That's in there for a strike. 0-2. Richard Lee is single, walked and scored back in the first. A 4-run first inning for the Bulldogs, as it just was not Chris Demui's afternoon. Upstairs.
We talked about it early on, the effectiveness and the importance of throwing strikes. Going all the way back to that first inning with Demui with 3 walks, and that just set the tone for the ball game. Mississippi State had helped them boost their confidence. And really had been in the driver's seat ever since.
Well, the strikeout of of Richard Lee.
Nasty slider. Good tight rotation on it. Hard to pick up. Looks like a fastball coming up. That's been his pitch.
There's Weiss with a fly ball to right field. Will the park hold it? No, it won't. And Brian Weiss, the hometown boy, gets untracked. He left 7 runners stranded last night. Had a tough day at the plate. Comes back and hits a home run to right field. And welcome home, Brian Weiss. Literally.
Yep, more ways than one welcome home. Absolutely. After the outstanding slider to Richard Lee, Weiss gets a fastball belt high down the middle on the outer half. He figured, I'm not going to try and pull it. I'm just going to go the other way with it. Had a little bit of help from the wind. That's the one place in the ballpark where the wind will help the ball go out. That got out of here like a rocket. Hard to believe that this guy really didn't become a full-time hitter until this season.
Well, Weiss sends it over the right field wall. And it's an 8-3 Mississippi State advantage now.
The box has gotten very quiet.
Well, you said it early on, Darren. You want to come out here, score early if you're the visiting team because you want to take this crowd out of it. This crowd can be devastating.
If people don't understand how big of a role, they talk about it in basketball, obviously in football, but it plays a role, absolutely, especially these guys. Younger in age, they hear what's going on out there.
Hillary loads up, really throws it to the backstop. Pat walked in the first, grounded out in the third and in the sixth, and struck out his last time up. Pops this out of plate on the right field line. 91, 93, 96, and 97. What happened in those years in college baseball?
LSU, maybe?
Won their national championships. There's a little blooper behind first. Furness, Barbier, nobody can catch it. Doesn't matter, it's foul ball anyway.
Almost did it again. Did it twice last inning and almost dropped another one in there.
5 times. As you look at the intimidator, referred to that by the LSU players. They have certainly
It's a scary thing. SEC teams may be a little bit more used to it, but if you're Southwest Texas State and you come in and look at that, that's got to be a very scary thing to look at.
14 NCAA regional appearances for this team. 9 times they've been to the College World Series. It is now full on Barry Patton. 3-2, 1 down. We are in the 9th. And he walks him. Had Patton 0-2. Patton caught back to a full count. Now he's on at first base with his second walk of the afternoon. That'll lead us to Travis Chapman. Chapman singled and came around to score back in the 8th. Chapman with a pair of hits today. He's played a nice third base. There's a ground ball to third. McClure will go to second, and they will only get 1. So there's 2 down now. That takes us to our designated hitter, John Knott. He singled in the 6th, struck out his last time at bat. If you're a freshman, you're probably a little dismayed about coming into this place, seeing it, fans getting on you, but if you're just a freshman, there's really nothing else that you could go through as an SEC baseball player, whether it's the NCAA level or the World Series. It can't compare to this environment, so it's kind of good, I guess, to get it out of the way. Everything else else a piece of cake.
Absolutely, and that's funny you say that, because Eddie Furness was even talking about how tough it is at times to play at home with the pressure they put on themselves. He said when we go to Rosenblatt Stadium every year, which they do, we're not even nervous. This crowd is louder than Rosenblatt's when we're on fire.
Hasn't been the case today. A relatively quiet crowd, not much to cheer about. Knott goes down 1 and 2. Dan Guillory. Knott with an RBI today. 2 down. Runner at first. And the 1-2 pitch from Guillory. Stayed inside on Knott. Count even now at 2 and 2.
Earnhardt a little bit mad at himself behind the plate. I think he thinks if he would have caught that pitch, he would have gotten a called third strike on it.
The 2-2. Grounded right back up the gut. Guillory stabs it, throws over to first, and that'll do it. 1 runner is left on a walk. And we go to the bottom of the 9th. LSU needs a huge inning to stay in it. Bulldogs with a 5-run advantage as we move to the bottom of the 9th inning. 8-13-1 for Mississippi State. 3-10-2 for the LSU Tigers. Only one baseball has left the park today. That was by Brian Weiss moments ago. And the last SEC game that LSU has gone without a home run, almost 2 years to the day. That came against South Carolina. Here's a team that hit 188 home runs a year ago, establishing new standards in the NCAA. They have 81 so far this year, and they hit 3 of them last night. They had 8 runs on 7 hits.
That says so much, too, about the Mississippi State pitchers today, Jeremy Jackson and Brian Compton. Not only have these guys thrown strikes, only 2 walks between them heading into the 9th, and they've kept it in the ballpark.
RBA's had a tough day at the plate. Into a double play, then grounded into a fielder's choice, and then struck out back in the 6th inning. He's trying to reach base here. There's a ground ball back up the middle. And a tremendous play by Peoples at second. Compton slowed it down, which made it even more difficult for Peoples because Peoples was going behind the bag and had to kind of cut his path short.
Compton was mad at himself, too. He wished he was very frustrated, but a good play by Peoples. Picked up his teammate right there, who was just for a moment thinking he definitely should have had that ground ball.
That brings us to Jeff Lamont, who came into play right field and pitch hit for Jeremy Witt, who started the game. Lamont flew out his first time up back in the 6th inning. Compton lets that sail on him.
Another thought, too, heading into tomorrow, which could be the deciding game of the series. You do so today only using 2 pitchers possible if he can get through this inning, and that is just a huge boost for Mississippi State.
Yeah, then you can go down to Hank Toms early if you need to tomorrow. Bring in Johnson for 2 innings of plus work. That is saying that you can keep the game in check. There's a good chance this LSU team will unload offensively tomorrow. You can't keep this team quiet for very long. There's a strike at the plate, and that'll do it for Lamont. Goes down on 4 pitches as Compton continues to roll right along.
Look at the location here. Never crossed the plate, just hit the catcher's mitt on the inside corner. An outstanding pitch.
2-out rally crew really needs to do some work today. Down 5, 2 down. This is Cedric Harris. 2 infield singles, 1 in the 5th and 1 in the 7th, beating out the efforts of Brad Freeman at short. That's in there for a strike count, even at 1-1. This will be a big, 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 big win for Mississippi State. Last night, pitching let him down. Today, pitching was the number. That is in there for another strike, 1-2. This will give Mississippi State a 2-1 series advantage this year over LSU. They won earlier this year up in New Orleans at the Winn-Dixie shootout. There's a base hit by Cedric Harris, who's had a nice day at the plate. He's now 3 of 4. His average will creep up to 300 after that hit.
Just trying to get back to the top of the order.
Josh Dalton.
All they can hope for right now, down by 5, get us back to the Bashers.
11 hits for LSU, and they've only scored 3 runs. 13 hits for Mississippi State. They've got 8 runs. Stays outside.
LSU 21-1 this season at Alex Box Stadium.
There's a shot. That's in the hole. To the bottom of the order, keeping things alive with 2 down. That's a single for Dalton. Back to the top of the order. Wes Davis steps in. 2-out rally crew.
I think Pat McMahon has seen enough. Maybe the closer, Van Johnson, come in and try and get this final out. What a job by Brian Compton.
That is Van Johnson. 13 saves last year, led the Southeastern Conference. We'll check out his numbers in a moment. There's a man who did a nice job today, Brian Compton. Picked up where Jeremy Jackson left off and leaves with an 8-3 advantage. 2 down in the 9th, and that is Van Johnson. 2.37 ERA, 1-0 this year, 15 appearances, 4 saves, 19 innings pitched, struck out 13, given up 17 hits, 5 earned runs. Opposition hitting .230. He pitched on Wednesday night against Ole Miss at the Mayor's Trophy game in Jackson, Mississippi, and was oh so impressive. He and Tom's both pitched extremely well in that game. Tom's still down in the bullpen, but this is going to be Van Johnson's time to shut him down. The leader in SEC saves a year ago. You watch his delivery. Pat McMahon and company worked with him when he got to Mississippi State, decided to bring his delivery down a little bit to make his pitches more effective, and they have been more than effective.
Especially against right-handed batters, the ball dives down and in on their hands, and big sweeping slider that breaks away to right-handed hitters. He can even show a changeup to a lefty if he needs to, but got a couple of righties right here to put away.
There's a strike. You look at the runners. Dalton at first, Harris at second. The 0-1 on the way to Wes Davis. Grounded to third. Chapman throws to second. That'll do it. So 2 pitches, and Johnson slams the door. And Mississippi State picks up the win 8-3. 13 hits for the Bulldogs. We'll come back, wrap it up in a moment.